Hello, hello. We are trying something new this month where we're bringing you, I guess, a short episode where myself and Cecilia are talking about what happened last month and what's going to come on the podcast in the coming month. So, as I said, this is a new format. We would love to hear your feedback, what you think, if we should keep doing it, if there is anything else that you want to hear during that conversation. We're very open and looking forward to hearing from you. Hey, Cecilia.
Hi, Karen.
I'm so excited to have this conversation. It's been a long time since we've tried something a bit new on the podcast.
Yeah, it's true. And I think it's just a different format. We need to try new things, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the beauty of being just the two of us, so we can do things and be silly together.
Well, it's just another Thursday then.
Exactly. So before we talk about, I guess we're going to talk about what's going to come out in September, but I'm just curious. It looks like you're in a different spot than usual. What's going on?
I am. I'm very lucky. This has been something I've been doing every year since, well, the pandemic hit because we couldn't go anywhere. So we would just take the car and drive all the way from London to Marseille, where I'm from, and just hang out here for the summer. So I'm actually here for about a month and a half.
Oh.
I know, awful. So I'm working from here. I'm still working, but I'm working remotely from 10 minutes walk from the beach. Can't really complain.
Yeah, I think we're going to stop this conversation right now. We're not friends
Sorry,
anymore.
guys.
How long is the drive? It sounds like a really long drive.
So the drive, if you do it at once, it's about 13 hours,
Oof.
but yeah, so we don't. So this time we did it in 4 days. So we just stop in different places, see friends and family. So can make an adventure out of it. It's lovely.
Nice. It sounds nice. I'm very jealous. I've just been in London the whole holiday enjoying
Yes.
the horrible weather that we've been having. But I'm going to Tuscany next week, so I am
Yes.
excited.
Oh, all the lovely food and wine. Tell me a bit
Exactly.
about that.
That's what I'm waiting for. Wine in the hills of Tuscany.
Oh, could be sadder.
It could, definitely. So we're going to talk about things that we are doing in September. But there was August where we didn't release any podcast, but we've done quite a few things during that time. Curious to hear about things that you learned in August.
So in August, well, you obviously know, but not everyone does. We have been doing the Analytics Translator course with Wendy Lynch, and it's been quite eye-opening. And I think that for me, it was mostly setting an intention and sitting down and thinking about it before you get into a meeting and understanding what you want to get out of it. So I think if you start with that, you're already starting with a positive mind. So I quite like that. And I've been trying to do this every time, not only for work, but also, when you go out or you're going to speak to a friend or something like that. And I'm feeling more positive and I'm feeling more open to whatever is coming my way. So I think that's my biggest learning of the summer.
I think that that's a really good one. And when I think about this intention setting thing, it sounds so obvious, but it's also not easy to do. So I know, especially when I've been back to back, I try to set the intention maybe at the beginning of the day or before the meetings. And it's just when you are back to back and busy, it's just really hard to do it. So this is a big learning I took as well, but I need to get better at it.
Is there something else you learned?
Yeah, so a bit different from that. You know how I am. I like to do loads of things. So I do podcasts, I try to do blogging, I do conferences and all these things. And I was at breakfast with a friend who works in data, and we got excited about writing blogs together. And I said, okay, let's do this. So we listed all the topics we could write together. And then I went on LinkedIn and there was this post from Adam Grant, and I'm going to read the post. Bear with me.
Go on.
That says, the most important question about a new project isn't how much you really enjoy it. It's whether it will interfere with existing priorities that matter to you.
Yeah.
An opportunity that seems compelling in isolation is a mistake if it leaves you overextended. So I read that and I was like, oh.
I see where this is coming.
So I messaged my friend and I was like, you know what? I would really love to do this with you. I'm very excited about it, but I just can't right now. And she was very receptive to it. So I'm very grateful for that. She said, let's revisit once you're done with all the conferences you're planning, all the things you're doing, and then we can write blogs together. So we're going to do it, just not now.
Oh, that's very clever. I think it's also about knowing yourself and how much you can extend yourself, like you said. Absolutely.
Exactly. So talking about friends,
Yeah.
that friend is actually Rihanna Kelly. And we're starting with her in September. And I met Rihanna at a Women in Data event in November.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was one on mentoring. And she came and she said, oh, hey, you're Karen. I've been listening to your podcast. And then we started chatting and we realized we live very close to each other, which I love. And we became friends since. So Rihanna is joining us on the podcast as the first episode after the break.
Yep.
So she works as a head of data at Zeps. And what we're talking about is onboarding into data team, which is really big topic. I can't believe we haven't actually covered this on the podcast before. We spoke about establishing yourself in a new role, but we never talked about the onboarding experience, which is a bit crazy. So what we're going to talk about, Rihanna is really well versed in the topic of onboarding, and she's talking about strategies for better onboarding. She's talking about her experiences, and we're sharing basically respective experiences, good, bad, things we learned from that. And she also provides a guide for managers, but also people who are new in a role on how to make the onboarding experience as good as possible. Yeah, so that's what we're talking about. Cecilia, you did listen to the conversation. Was there any takeaways that you had from that?
I did, and I did love the conversation. It's true. It's something that I don't work in HR, so perhaps I don't have the same view, but it's something that sometimes feels like it's just an afterthought and just let's just put together something for people to start and off you go. But I think favorite point in the conversation you guys had was making sure that you are the right person for that job, but this is also where you want to be. So it's pretty much like, a relationship. It has to come both ways. So if you don't like each other, then it's not going to work. And it's like, and it's okay. And it's okay. It's not fit for everyone. but
Exactly.
but
So
I quite like that interaction.
Yeah, I guess that's when Rihanna was talking about using the onboarding and the probation period as a test to see if this is a right fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Exactly.
quite good. And then what's the next episode we're having?
Well, actually, talking about the right fit on the companies, we were talking about smaller structures. So we invited Abby, so Abby Arian, who's wearing so many hats. I don't think we have enough time to describe everything that she does, but I would say she's mostly an ML engineer, and she is just so into smaller company structures. And I know that maybe it's me because it's so relatable to where I am right now with work, but it's definitely one of my favorite episodes. And also maybe because I participated in it, but I just thought it was a really honest conversation. We chatted about all the issues we might encounter, the roadblocks in our paths, but also how amazing it is when you're working in such a small, compact environment, the impact you have within your company. And I really, really love that. And this is how I feel. I sometimes might feel a bit blocked or frustrated, but at the same time, when something happens, it's just amazing. And I really love that. Was there any part of the episode that was your favorite, Karen?
Yeah, I think that's my favorite. Not sure, but it was really good to see different perspectives on this topic because before Monzo, I've only worked in smaller organizations, not as small as where you are, or where Abby is. Um, Although my first role, the data team was 2 people. So yeah, I know you and Abby are the only one, but I guess 2 is as close as it gets. And I had a completely different experience. So when you see about how positive Abby is about being the only data person in that team, for me, it was very difficult. And I found that I was thriving a bit more in teams where there were other data people that I could communicate with, exchange knowledge with. So it was really good to hear her perspective and the approach as well as yours. But something we talked about as well was, how do you find that support when you work in a smaller structure? And I can't remember because we recorded that a while ago, but I can't remember if we talked about the importance of networking in there, but I feel like this for me is the best way to get the support when you work in a smaller structure. So that's really it. I liked the fact that we tried to have an episode with the 3 of us and co-hosting that. It was fun, actually.
I'd really like that. And I think we have a very good month in front of us. And there's some really interesting, I really like the episodes that are coming up. So I hope everyone likes it too.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
All right.